Claressa Shields takes the heavyweight title in only 2 rounds. We got Crawford-Madrimov and a lot more coming up on Tough Talk Tuesday.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, my right-hand man, Robert Alexander. I got a blast from the past. Jules, we haven't had you in a while. Thank you for coming back on, buddy.
Thank you for having me, guys. This is a great nostalgia. I appreciate it as always.
It's always good to have you on. Let's jump right into the thick of things, guys. I want to talk Claressa Shields. She gets a big W, scoring a heavyweight division title. But what does it mean? She cannot apparently be challenged, guys. What's next for Claressa? And did this mean anything?
Well, first of all, I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Because it's for a heavyweight title, right?
Yeah.
But then something happened with the weights, right? Didn't they fight at like 175 or something like that? And then she won a heavyweight title. I'm confused by that.
You know, isn't the women's division different, though?
But, to interrupt, that's happened in boxing, right? Like, that's happened where, like, a person has fought at, like, 160, but it was for, like, the 168 title or something, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, it's not the norm, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, I'm trying to remember it's been a while. Like, I know I'm going old school for all the younger generation, but Sugar Ray Leonard versus Donnie Lalonde, like, they fought it, like, 160, but he ended up getting like the 168 title at the same time. So it's happened. It's just not common in boxing.
Canelo was trying to drain that cruiserweight champ 20 pounds. Remember that? He was going to fight for the cruiserweight title 20 pounds later. Right. Come on, man.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. Is the way I feel, but even at 175, there was like 2 weight classes above her normal, something like that.
Yeah.
So it is great that she did that. I thought it was great. The problem is that I'm not in the norm right now. I'm not in the popularity contest when it comes to that, because I believe if you look at the turnout and what people are trending with, the way it's trending online, everybody is just basically saying like, yeah, that's great. Yay, Claressa. Congratulations, and move on.
I mean, that's what I'm wanting to start up this conversation, though. It's like, where do we go from here? Should she even be congratulated? Because, I mean, let's face it looked like an easy fight.
Well, to be fair, from what I understand, I mean, this was a girl who was supposed to give her a challenge. I'll be quite fair. I've watched Claressa for a long time, since the Olympics. So I'm very aware of her. The woman that she fought, Vanessa LePage, I'll be quite honest with you, I had to look up the highlights. You know what I mean? I didn't watch her. And forgive me for all the female fans. I'm not a chauvinist. I do enjoy women boxing. I just didn't know too much about Vanessa. So, my thing is, it was supposed to be a challenge. I mean, she was, someone who's been at that weight. So I think it is an accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment in terms of the mainstream. I mean, the reality is that as big as Claressa Shields is a name, she needs the Elisa Baumgartners. If she can get, if she can get an Amanda Serrano, if she can get a Katie Taylor, obviously she's this too big. But it's one of the things where can they get a fighter to catch weight? But she needs those names in order for her to get the recognition that she wants, either that or fight Keith Thurman. So.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. It's she doesn't have that competition to draw some big marquee fight. It doesn't seem like it's possible for her. I think that's also another reason why she started calling out the men. And I don't know, are you both against her getting a fight with a man if she's not able to land a significant?
Absolutely, I'm against it. Come on. I know I haven't been on for a long time, but did you guys see that sparring session, Rob? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But when she got dropped by that male fighter who I said no. Even before that, I was against it. But when I saw that, oh my God, boxing would be banned. Because Keith Thurman would kill her. We got to put respect for Keith Thurman's name. This guy was a former undisputed welterweight champion who could hit hard. You got to put respect on this man's name. And Lord have mercy, they would ban boxing after that.
I mean, it's kind of happening right now in the Olympics, depending on how you want to look at that. But for me, I think if we can't, there's got to be a way to at least have her compete. Now, I'm not talking about a Keith Thurman. I don't think we want to throw her in any kind of deep water like that. But she's the one that is encouraging and keeps saying how she can beat a man. Let her start out small, a local bar guy, a local bar fighter. Why not put him in there and see what she can do?
Well, I'm not fighting her.
I hear that, Rob.
No, I agree with Jules wholeheartedly. When you talk about putting a woman against a man and all this and that, whether it be the Olympics, whether it be transgender, what is trending right now, whatever the case may be, I don't think it's fair. I don't. There's two different divisions in all the sports for a reason. You have women's basketball, you have men's basketball. You have women's water polo in the Olympics, you have men's. Everything in the Olympics is men's, women's, vice versa. And it's the same way in the pros, and it's always been WNBA versus NBA. And hey, some of those girls in the WNBA can cook. They can actually cook some of the men in the NBA, and they still separated. I don't feel that that's the issue here with Claressa. The issue is her biggest challenge and her biggest issue with the media and with everybody is that she's not as big of a star as she should be. Okay, that's her issue.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree. Yeah. I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you absolutely right, Jules. But if that's the case, she still only fights once, twice a year. At that.
But that just goes to show once again the competition. In my personal opinion, I like Claressa Shields. I think she is the female boxing. I think she's the most decorated female boxer that's ever gone into women's boxing, and that's including Christy Martin and Layla Ali. That's including them. You know what I mean? But granted, Christy Martin, she was the bigger star, right? But Christy Martin, number one, was a big puncher, and number two, she was very fortunate that she was able to fight under Mike Tyson undercards. And the reality is that, going back to Rob, I personally feel that Claressa and the team, they should really say, listen, we do think you're one of the most decorated female fighter of all time. But we should try to get you on undercards of male fighters, big male fighters. Try to get the undercard. She could be the co-main event of a Canelo fight, a co-main event of Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? They should really. I know she's like, I'm a gold medalist, and yada yada. But the reality is that it's Tank Davis, Canelo, Ryan Garcia, wherever you want to go with that. But those are the draws. And they get, from a business perspective, I feel it'd be beneficial for her to say, listen, just get you on the undercard of those guys. People will see that you're the talent for what you are. If you can get a catchweight, I don't know how it's possible. If you can get an Alicia Baumgardner, if you can get, even Amanda Serrano, I don't know if they'll do it. They got to find somebody, that they can draw more seats.
You would think that there is some competition out there that they could work around to have her face. And I agree with you. I think she's been promoted very badly. And you're right, she should have been co-promoted as, co-main. And I know she's been a main event, but it's been of, I hate to say it, but just boring cards. Boring cards that are just in Detroit, just with her name on it. Nobody wants to watch anything else. You're not going to draw very much attention that way. Just as Amanda Serrano is doing, and Jake Paul is doing for her, putting her on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul pay-per-view card. Like, that's the kind of exposure that women need.
And also, once again, to interrupt, and Rob, I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were going to speak, but let's be honest with you. We don't care if it's men, women, or animals, right? A great fight is a great fight. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano was one of the best fights, not just women fights. That was a phenomenal fight. You know what I mean? That was a very good fight, to the point where people are looking more forward to that fight than Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. That's the spectacle. You know what I mean? And I love Iron Mike, don't get me wrong, but that's the spectacle. The main fight up for that undercard was Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. That's the boxing match. And the reality is that that's what Claressa Shields needs. She needs people to be like, oh my God, Claressa's finally going to be in a fight. You know what I mean? Against someone who, we don't know if she's going to win or lose. And I don't think we're seeing it. I think the last time we saw that was maybe against people thought she would have a good, well, even this one, a lot of people thought she'd have a challenge, but also Savannah Marshall. And, that was no contest, in boxing and MMA. So it's like,
Even Marshall, I don't know. I think for me, the last I actually heard a buzz about she might lose was to the Hammer.
Oh, that's right.
They actually had some buzz there that she could lose, but I that's my question now to you guys is there a fight out there? Is there a fight out there that you say Shields versus boom, make it happen? Because I don't see it. I don't feel it. There's no one down there. Like you said, Jules, I don't think she can go down to get some of those bigger named women that are in the women's division. She doesn't have that kind of partner. She doesn't have that Amanda Serrano or a Katie Taylor.
Yeah, I thought Jules said it right. I thought she needs a dance partner. You're right. She needs a Baumgartner. She needs a Katie Taylor. She needs a dance partner. But, and I have to add the but here. We got to look at it. I mean, when's the last time you heard Tank Davis not favored in a fight? He still gets hits. He still gets views. When's the last time you heard,
because he knocks people out, though. Claressa Shields, I love the woman. She usually doesn't knock people out. She knocked this one out, but it again, we don't know really the competition level there. Used to say that she should not have gotten a knockout. You know what I mean? But any top competition, she has not really put up any kind of crazy KO reel or anything like that. I'm almost leaning into the fact of maybe she can take on a Rod Sulta. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she could do that. And maybe we can, just the ref can be a little bit more egregious, maybe a little bit more careful with everything, a little bit more cautious.
Lucas is trying to get this sport banned. Lucas, if that happens, man, if something bad happens, Tough Talk is going to be in a lot of trouble. Are you kidding me? The fighter who dropped Claressa, lost to Rolly. And when Rolly was coming up, this is a guy who, he's not someone who, and once again, I'm not disrespecting any boxer, but it's one of those things where this is not a guy who you could be like, okay, well, even if that guy would have fought Claressa, you'd be like, okay, maybe that's a safe fight for her. The guy who dropped her in sparring. Maybe. You know what I mean? And it's just I personally feel what they should do is, I don't know. I don't know if Claressa can make that weight, but I know Michaela Mayer, she fights at welterweight, I believe, right? Or she's made welterweight. If Claressa can drop the weight, but who knows, since she went up to heavyweight, she can drop the weight, maybe meet Michaela at a catchweight. That's the best she's going to be able to do in terms of someone who has a name, you know what I mean? And could possibly give her a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's a stretch. So I'm just trying to get the woman the recognition that she's trying to go out for. I really don't know what else to do. And maybe this is part of the problem with her promotion. It's like, what do you want us to do? The promotional company's hands are somewhat tied. Rob, any other ideas? What would you do with Shields if she was yours?
I mean, again, I want to get back to this point. She still only fights once or twice a year. If it's me, and I love the sport, and I love what I'm doing, I don't care about the accolades. I don't care about the fans. I just want to fight. Put me out there 4-5 times a year, period. Whoever.
Okay.
I don't care who it is, and I'm not gonna complain about it. Just keep fighting. That's all. I mean, and that's all she can do.
I hear you. So you're saying lean into like the no names, get a knockout reel going, get some hype. So lean into the fact that your competition is less than. Try to get a highlight reel going, and maybe you'll draw some bigger competition. I see that.
I think also it's the thing, right? Like, I'm not going to say for women's boxing is less. Like, we like seeing knockouts. That's just fighting. And the reality is that, yeah, everyone loves knockouts. It doesn't matter. And I think that the reality is, Claressa Shields prior to this fight, is she didn't really have a lot of knockouts. She's just, very skillful in her divisions, but she was never a big puncher. And I think, the reality is that, if she wants to be a big name, right? I personally feel that the promotion should take how Christy Martin was back in the day, when she was promoted by Don King. Have her, once again, Christy Martin was under Mike Tyson. She was the co-main event. You know what I mean? Christy Martin was obviously not knocking chicks out, but she was still under a big card, and a lot of people can see her, and they were like, oh, we want to see this girl. That's the reality. She, Claressa has to create that demand and create it under, a big card, a la like Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. And as I said, that's the bigger fight. That's the boxing fight, not not the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. That's not a boxing fight. We all know that.
Yeah.
No, great point. And to put in context what Jules is saying, which is a great point, and this is another issue with Claressa. Stop saying you're the main event, you're the main draw. It's not working. Get yourself out there on just what Jules said. Get yourself out there on a Usyk Fury undercard. Get yourself out there on a Tank undercard. Take the back seat. Get promoted out there. Get put under a man. Unfortunately, but you're right, Jules. That's exactly what she should do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see another option there. I'm not all the way against her fighting a man, but I want to ease into that and start very low level. And that's only because she's so adamant. You know what I'm saying? I would not just be like, hey, Shields, go fight this dude. No, I'm not. I would never.
Lucas is insane.
I would never mention that to any other female fighter. The only reason I'm doing that is because she's, skill-wise, really hasn't been in there with anybody that can hold her jock if she had one. So,
yeah, but Lucas, let's be honest with you. She stopped talking that as soon as that sparring session came out. And once again, as I say, Claressa Shields, did she? I haven't been hearing it anymore. Like, once that sparring session came out, like, it was like she was furious about it. And then, it just stopped. I feel, would she fight a man? Yeah. I give her credit, man. The woman, she likes to fight. She will fight anybody. I will give her that. And I will say that if she was a man, I hate to say it, she would probably get more accolades. If she was a man, she would get more accolades. Unfortunately, she's not getting the accolades that she deserves. And I think once again, it's lack of the dance partners, a lack of competition, and once again, I just think the promotion. They got to be like, listen, we got to take another approach. Maybe we should get you on the undercard. We should get you on the Jake Paul undercard. You know what I mean? We got to do something.
Yeah, she's very decorated, and it was funny because after that, I was even mentioning to my kids and to a buddy, it's like how awesome of a intro does she have? Like the Olympic gold champion, former. Like, I mean, she's got all these accolades, and I think she can put a man beating on there as well. Not to say that she should be forced into that. If she still wants it and she demands it, I think a woman should be able to at least ease into it. We've seen women make it to the NHL. Maybe she didn't last long. We've seen women go into NASCAR, Danica Patrick. So who's to say a woman couldn't beat another man? Not saying all men, but at least a man.
I don't know, man. And I love Clarissa. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. She just really needs to have that spark to add something extra. What were you going to say, Jules?
No, I was going to say, listen, Clarissa, and once again, I like Clarissa Shields. I like what she's doing. I as a fighter, I like she's taking on all comers. You know what I mean? And what I love about her is she's going into MMA to even find a challenge. I will give her that credit. That woman likes to fight. And she is decorated. I think isn't she like the last American boxer to win a gold medal? I don't think there's been a gold medalist since then. You know what I mean? She deserves all the accolades that she wants. Is she a little overboard with, the mouth? Hey, who knows? I can't tell. You know what I mean? But
itself.
You know what I mean? But the reality is that, unfortunately, we like to see people who either in competitive fights or who are dropping people violently, in fights. And unfortunately, it's not, prior to this fight that she had, it wasn't happening for her. She wasn't dropping people.
No. And, now she's posting about the transgender fighter, basically saying that, this Olympian's goals were shattered by a man. And maybe we should talk about this at the end of the show, because I did want to talk a little bit about the Olympic state, what it currently is in. But let's move on for now. Let's talk Andy Ruiz, Big Baby Miller. These are two men that I'm very disappointed in. I thought Andy Ruiz would be around more. Like, he won the title, and since then, like, he hasn't had a ton of fights, guys. Like, it's almost like he took a back seat. I thought, if anything, he would be more active, more attempting to get his title back. That just hasn't happened. And then, of course, you got Big Baby Miller that's been popping on tests, 3-4 times now, Rob?
I know it was at least twice. I know the 2 times recently. That's 2 that I know.
He shouldn't even be involved in a fight like this. I mean, the fact that he's getting this shot, he needs to come in clean and actually give the best account of himself. And Andy Ruiz, the same way, needs to be more active and stay in it. But, guys, what do you think about this fight?
I love it. I don't care, Lucas. I love it. You got 2 big heavyweights going. Anytime you got 2 big heavyweights going at it like that are big punchers, they both can punch big. They're both hungry for a win. It's going to be fireworks, regardless of whether you like the matchup or not. Now, granted, by the 8th, 7th, 8th round, they're both going to be gassed as hell. Okay, they're both gonna be huffing and puffing in there for however long that it lasts, and we're gonna pray that both of them make it through it. Okay, we're gonna be praying for that.
Big Baby, though, and sorry to interrupt you, Rob. Big Baby dropped some weight, though. Like, I've been watching his interviews, and supposedly he's dropped like 35, 40 pounds. Once again, we'll see what the scale is when he is weight, but. Usually, and once again, I love the Ruiz and Big Baby Miller because I'm part of the big boy club. You know what I mean? So I'm always gonna represent. But Big Baby was hovering at like 320 at one point. So for him to drop, like 35, 40, it goes to show you how either he was taking his fight very seriously or he's off his cycle. It's either one or the other, or he's taking something to help him with the weight. But Yeah, I mean, if Big Baby Miller's in shape that, he says he is with the weight loss, man, who knows? He could actually go a full 12 without being gassed.
Yeah, it's funny because we always hear that about Andy Ruiz too. I mean, it seems like every fight, oh, he's lost some weight. He's lost some weight. And Andy Ruiz is a great boxer.
He's phenomenal. Yeah.
I would love to see him, return to form. So I am very interested in this fight, even though I am disappointed in both these guys. Rob, how do you see this one shaping up?
I mean, I understand your disappointment, but again, I like it. Like Jules said with Big Baby Miller, again, both of them are hungry for a win. Both of them. With Big Baby Miller, he had a big fight last against Dubois on a big card, and he wasn't prepared. He wasn't even ready for that fight. So I'm glad he's taking this opportunity serious. As far as Andy Ruiz goes, the money's dried up. It's gotta be, okay? The money's gotta be dried up now. So now it's time to go back to the sport and take it serious, so you can grab get your paper, so to speak, back up. Because I know that money is dried up.
I mean, he needs another big win, and he could be right back in the mix of things. Though, if he makes Big Baby Miller look terrible, are people going to be saying they want to see him against Usyk? People saying they want to see him against another big heavyweight.
So, go ahead, Jules.
No, Robert, no, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just going to say, I think because the heavyweight division is so, I mean, we're getting to the point where now, like, the heavyweight division is kind of, it's like the champions are phasing out, quote unquote, and we're kind of making way for the new generation. So it's like, we kind of got to get ready for, probably Deontay Wilder retiring, right? I'm not sure if you guys touched on that on the last episode, but we probably got to get ready for that. When it comes down to a Fury, who knows how many fights he has. He's probably just waiting maybe for Anthony Joshua or the Usyk rematch. And I think Anthony Joshua, I mean, how many years is he going to fight? So it's kind of like we're really making ways more for like the big baby Andersons. And I think Ruiz kind of falls into that, where if he's really at the point where, because the heavyweight division, those champions are phasing out, this is his last chance to really get into that contention. So if he beats a Big Baby Miller, he has the, Dubois. Joseph Parker just got an upset loss. You know what I mean? So now we have freaking Chisora in the mix. Who the hell would think that would happen? But you know what I mean? So it's to the point where if Ruiz does get this win, he is kind of in the ability to get, the winner of Dubois Joshua, maybe a fight with Chisora, and gets himself back in the title mix.
Yeah, I mean, I'm welcome to a third Anthony Joshua fight too. And honestly, I think Andy Ruiz is such a skilled fighter that Miller doesn't have him that much in size. I know he's weighed in really heavy before, but like you were saying, Jules, I think he's coming in a little bit lighter in this fight. So if that's not a worry, I think Andy Ruiz walks away with this one. I'm not saying he knocks out Big Baby, but I think he outpoints him. We got a lot of other fights to talk about. Go ahead, Jules.
No, I was good, but I'm sorry, I don't want to take too much time.
No, you're good.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm afraid for Big Baby Miller, man, because it's kind of soon from the Daniel Dubois fight, and he took some punishment in that last round from Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois is not a light puncher. That's a man who can hit. He may not be the most skillful guy, but Daniel Dubois could put a man into another alternate universe. So, you know what I mean? I feel like Big Baby, I mean, I commend him for taking a fight in short notice, and maybe he's at a point where he's like, I need to, fight as much as I can. But God, man, and Ruiz is no slouch. Obviously, with the AJ fight, Ruiz can hit. So, I mean, Big Baby, between that Daniel Dubois, technical knockout, and fighting a guy like Ruiz who can hit, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough.
Who you got?
Oh God!
You have to pick.
If I had to pick,
yep.
Gosh, God, it's so tough, man. Because Ruiz, hasn't fought in like 2 years, right?
Ruiz actually he fought. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because the
right at
Ortiz
about
fight was
2
like
years.
2020, 2022. So,
Yeah.
oh God, Lucas, you put me
Who
on the
knows?
spot, man.
You don't know how he's gonna look. Yeah, I mean, we got to judge by what he did last, and
That Ortiz fight wasn't like a dominant performance. I mean, he beat him, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
he beat him. But I mean, to put Ortiz down, even an old Ortiz, that does speak pretty highly.
Yeah. So I guess if you talk about if we go by last fights, I got to go with Ruiz.
Yeah,
I have to go Ruiz.
Okay, 2 years, but I get it. Rob, did you say who you were?
No, I was getting to that. First of all, I had to say this, but didn't Big Baby after his last fight get arrested for trying to carjack his own car that got repoed? So that man is hungry, literally.
Hungry, desperate, same thing, right?
Right. That man is hungry. So I think he's taking this fight as a repo fight. But no, I like Andy Ruiz. I think he's gonna return to form. I think he's gonna box beautifully in this fight. Like I said, they're both gonna gas at the end. Ruiz is probably going to be more gassed because of the 2-year layoff. He's going to be more rusty because of the 2-year layoff. But I think, in my opinion, and this ain't a lot, but in my opinion, if you pit these two against each other in their prime, I still think Andy Ruiz wins that.
Well, so Andy Ruiz, yeah, Rob, I hear you, man. Because I remember when he fought in Tomer, man, he was coming up, and people were like, "Who's this fat dude?" And next thing you know, Andy Ruiz, when he was coming, even the Andy Ruiz who fought Anthony Joshua, that guy, oh my God, who came up off the canvas to knock out AJ, he crushed Big Baby. Yeah, that guy, in my opinion, and that's the thing. It's hard for me to pick a winner, even though I did pick Ruiz, but I don't know if that was Ruiz's zenith, like if that was his peak. Who knows if he'll ever get back to that form of when he beat AJ the first time. You know what I'm saying? And that happens with champions. We've seen it, right? Guys like a fighter who's had that perfect, you know what I mean, win, that perfect performance and never was able to get back to that form. I'm hoping that's not Ruiz, but who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but yeah, we never know. Guys, now just off your boxing knowledge, we all had Ruiz winning. Do we assume that Ruiz is the Vegas favorite? Because I pulled those.
No, I don't. Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is one. If our fans are out here, this is one you might want. You might want to risk it. You might.
You know what? I might.
Not bad odds.
I don't even gamble.
It's not bad odds at all. It's been a while since I actually bet on a fight. Pretty sure Bovada locked my account. They must have figured out like I do this or something. They must have watched the show and was like, fuck that dude, and banned my account because I can't do it no more. At least not with Bovada. All right, let's move on here. Got David Morrell. He's going to have a showing on this card as well. It's a big pay-per-view card, guys. Of course, he's fighting for the WBA vacant light heavyweight title against a name that I would butcher if I tried to say it out loud, but it's on your screen. I'm a big supporter of David Morrell. I think from what I've saw, the sky's the limit for this guy. I don't know enough about his opponent to really say whether he's going to destroy him or not. But from everything I've said of David Morrell, I have definitely some high expectations.
So, David, if you're listening, this is your coming out party, so to speak. It's a huge card. We've all seen Lucas, Jules, me, everybody who's been on this panel. We've all seen you. We've seen what you can do. This is your time to make a huge statement on a big card. And I think he does it. I think he knows he has to. A title is at stake. He's already called out the best. And he's what, 10-0, Lucas? 11-0?
Yeah,
That's
10-0. Yeah, 10-0. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's already called out the best. So if you want the best, you got to make a statement here. I'm going David Morrell, early knockout. Early.
and that's the way it's apparently been trending with David Morrell, and the way he has his last two fights. Last fight in 2023 of December was TKO in 2, and then a KO in 1 against Falcao there in Vegas. So it's following that, but again, this also, I mean, Robbie's not facing the toughest. Jules, he's not facing the toughest competition either, though, right?
Well, I mean, to be quite fair, I personally think what he's doing is a smart move. I mean, let's be honest with you. They weren't going to order him to fight Canelo. You know what I mean? Like, the sanctioning bodies weren't going to, put that fight for him to basically fight Canelo for the belt. So, once again, I think he's doing what he has to do. I think that because he's moving to 175, right? So I think it's a smart move on his part. And once again, it's to the point where if he can, make a name and win the belt, who knows? He may have a B-ball on his radar, maybe earlier than expected. Or who knows if he can get Benavidez. I don't know if Benavidez will fight him. You know what I mean? But I think there were just bigger names at 175 that he can get, as opposed to if he stayed at 168.
No, and that's a good point. And you're absolutely right, Jules. I think he's making the right move as well. If you can't fight nobody, if nobody wants to fight you at your current division, you got to move up if you're able to. So I agree wholeheartedly. But he does need to have a statement. He needs to have another 1-2 round KO. This guy's supposed to be a step up because of the move up in weight, because it's a vacant title. So obviously the WBA is vetting this guy over there. But yeah, first round, 1-2 round knockout, easy work. Get you a highlight in there, maybe the knockout of the night.
Yeah, and there's a reason that we're talking all Morrell and nothing about his opponent, and I'm about to show you that now. Big difference. Vegas,
yes, that's a huge difference.
Dudes ain't got no chance as far as the Vegas odds are concerned. So, more than anything, this is his coming out party, though. As Rob was saying, I mean, you're on a big card. It's time to show up. So hopefully, David Morrell can do that and put on a decent performance. Let's see. My personal fight of the night, more than Crawford-Madrimov, Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Jose Valenzuela. Rob, I don't think you're the biggest fan as Isaac Cruz as I am. I like the come at you type style, the James Kirkland style. I feel like that's missing in the sport of boxing. I think Isaac Cruz brings that, so I love him for it. One, are you on the Cruz bandwagon yet? And if not, if he knocks out Valenzuela, are you going to jump onto the bandwagon?
Well, I don't know why you say that. I like Pitbull. Yes, I do. I don't like Pitbull Tank, but I like Pitbull. Okay. What people misunderstand about the Pitbull is you compare him to a Kirkland type fighter. I think he's smarter than that. Honestly, I think he fights smarter than that, and that's why he was able to go 12 rounds with Tank. And I think hurt, not hurt, those are excuses. I think if they ever fought again, it would go another 12 rounds. I think Pitbull is that good. The thing that I'm most impressed with Pitbull is when he's stepped up, and the reason why he's in the driver's seat at this point in his career is because every fight after Tank, he stepped up and he's just gotten better, and better. And he's had, to me, some tough matchups that they tried to throw at him. Okay, I thought they tried to throw some tough matchups for him. Raleigh was a style clash, so that was supposed to throw kind of a kink in his resume, so to speak. He passed that test with flying colors. This guy, Jose Valenzuela, is also a guy that can pose a threat and put a chink in his armor, because Jose also has underdogs type power. And he hits hard, and he comes to fight and bring it too. He's got a great chin, which spells for a massive fight in this one, because he has the chin and the heart to match Pitbull's determination and his pressure. So to me, you got two versus two, right? You got determination and pressure for Pitbull. You got heart and you got chin with Jose Valenzuela. I believe their power equals out with each other. This one should be, and I hate to say this because I've said it a lot of times and it's never materialized. This one should be a straight dog fight, for real. There should be a dog fight. The only thing is Pitbull's been in those before. Jose Valenzuela hasn't been in those at this level before.
And when you say that if it's going to be that kind of a fight, doesn't it already kind of favor Isaac Cruz?
That's what I believe. Definitely believe it favors Isaac. But what his corner wants to see, it's the same thing I want to see. You want to see him challenged, right? You do. You want to see him challenged. And again, it's gonna be the chin of Valenzuela and his heart in this one, because he's gonna eat punches. He's gonna have to eat them and take them. But he has to understand and have the confidence that my punch, my power, is greater than Pitbull's. So that's why I think it would be back and forth, really. I do. I think it's going to be back and forth in this one. But I do have Pitbull gutting out a fight. This one could go a draw, Lucas. Honestly, it could go as a draw, but I think they're going to give it to Pitbull on the decision, on the judges' scorecard.
Okay, so you have it go into a decision, leaning towards Cruz. I can see that with the style favoring his. Jules, how do you see this one?
It's tough because I agree 100% with Rob. I think, and Rob, you may not like me for this. I became I Pitbull Cruz because of the tank fight. You may not like it, but yeah, I like him because of the after the tank fight. I'm going with Pitbull for the conditioning factor. I think conditioning-wise, that's what a lot of granted, I agree everything that Rob said, but Pitbull was a guy, man. I feel like that's a guy who could go 15, 20 rounds if he wanted to. That guy looks like he never gets tired. I don't know, but once again, I'm not saying Valenzuela's not that type either. He may be the type as well. I mean, that's the guys that say he has the chin and the power and he comes to get it. But my thing is, man, Cruz is a guy, like, he looks like he's always in shape. I love boxers like that. The guy who, he's working in the gym, he's putting in that road work, you know what I mean? If it's a 2-day notice, that guy's gonna still give you, 12 rounds. You know what I mean? So I'm going with Cruz because I think if it's a high-paced fight, I think towards the later rounds, man, I think it's gonna be conditioning on Cruz's fight. I don't think he'll knock out Valenzuela, but I think he'll probably outwork him later on.
No, you got a great point. And it's not even because of his stamina and his conditioning is so on point. That pressure, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard not to cave into that type of pressure.
Yeah, especially with a guy who's in shape. When you got that guy who's pressuring you all night long and can do it, you know what I mean? Until the sun comes up, that's a nightmare. And that's the reason why, and I think that's the reason why Tank said, hell no, I'm not fighting this guy again. You know what I mean? Because, I think the reality is, it's not that Tank, in my opinion, is more skillful than Cruz. Not to take anything away from Cruz, but sometimes, you know, it's to the point where skill can only give you so much if that guy just keeps coming to you and he can keep doing it for 12 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, that's just is what it is. And I think that's the whole thing with Valenzuela. That's going to be the true test for Valenzuela. If he's going to be able to, you know, deal with that pressure, as you said, Rob. And Lucas, I can understand why you're edging toward Cruz, because that guy can go all night. And, you know, that pressure, man, is just going to be there from round 1 to round 12.
For sure.
Absolutely. What you got to do, Jules, in this type of fight, if you're Valenzuela, is in the middle of the rounds, when you see this guy is not going nowhere, switch the water out for tequila and Corona, okay?
Give it the Panama Lewis bottle, that the one he mixed.
Some assault in the ring. That's about the way you win this one.
That's funny.
And Pitbull, I agree. I think Pitbull really had his coming out party against Gervonta Tank Davis, and there's a reason Tank don't want to fight him again. It was a lot of work. He said, "Hell no, I ain't fighting him again." And nothing against Valenzuela. I love him as a fighter. I just don't. I think there's going to be a big difference between his last fight against Chris Colbert, taking on now Isaac Cruz. I think it's a big jump just for me. And I do not think that he's going to last past 8 rounds. Isaac Cruz, yeah, he looks pretty one-dimensional, but that one dimension is one hell of a dimension. He will walk anybody down, and that even was Tank Davis, guys. If he can walk down Tank Davis, he's damn sure going to walk down Jose Valenzuela. I don't have him getting past 8.
Wow. That's a big statement.
I don't have him getting past 8. The odds on this fight, here we go. Cruz, -430. Valenzuela's a +310. So,
I mean, this is another one that, again, if you're betting, like if you like betting, he's a live dog in this fight. So
yeah, I agree.
Another one that I like, but I'm with the consensus here and what Jules is saying. Pitbull's a different animal, man. He's a different animal.
You see, we say that about the odds, but then we all picked one dude. Right. It was the same with the Andy Ruiz fight. Andy Ruiz fight, we all Ruiz. We all
but we could be wrong. You know, who knows what Valenzuela's condition is going to be for this fight. As I said, I don't think it's a skill thing with us. Like, we're not saying that Cruz is a live dog because he's the better fighter. As a matter of fact, we could either say Valenzuela technically, you know what I mean, is probably more skillful than Cruz is. I just think it's that Cruz is a guy, as you said, Rob. Lucas, as you said, even if you think he's a one-trick pony, he does that one trick real well. You know what? He's a Mexican Sean Porter. That's what I'll give him that. Yeah, he reminds me of Sean Porter. Sean Porter was not flashy at all. You know what I mean? But he was a guy who can fight, and he did what he did well.
Very true. I don't know if I could have put that better with Mexican Sean Porter. I mean, that's pretty much who he is. I think he's got a little bit more power, he seems to. But other than that, yeah, he's a come-at-you type guy, and, you got to love it. I think boxing needs a lot of those types. And we've been missing them a lot lately. There's not a lot of just straight come forward, come at you type guys that are at least not succeeding lately in the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of those along the way. Of course, we're going to be talking now about the main event, Terrence Bud Crawford-Madrimov. Let's talk how they're going to win. How do we see this fight going, guys? Bud is, held very highly. I'm not going to say he's on everybody's top pound for pound, but he's at least in everybody's top 5, right? So he's moving up again in weight. This is another hurdle for him to climb. Is he successful?
Let's start right here. Eddie Hearns, shut your damn mouth. Shut your mouth. You're going to get this poor guy killed. Eddie Hearns just spoke on it. There's other guys in the media out there who spoke on it, trying to hype this guy up, talking about he knocks out Terrence Crawford. Big KO, they're speaking about it for this guy against Terrence Crawford. Okay? Yeah, you're supposed to pump up the guy that you're promoting. I get that. Okay? I get that. But what you don't want to do, and we've seen it before, you never want to wake up a sleeping dragon.
Yeah, especially like Crawford. Yeah.
Especially.
I'm with you, Rob.
I'm going to go philosophical on you here. Terrence Crawford is the Komodo dragon, okay? Is the Komodo dragon here, okay? He's small. He's little. He looks harmless. He looks like a good pet. Like he's not going to hurt nobody. And then you walk up on it, disturb it, and you're dead. You're dead. Dead. And you know what? Komodos can eat humans alive, okay? They can eat humans alive. Y'all are waking up the Komodo dragon here. You're about to step on his island. You're giving him fuel to the fire if he's not motivated enough. Terrence Crawford, y'all. I don't think I can say it better than that, Jules.
Nah, bro. Listen, you summed it up, man. I mean, Crawford. I mean, he's proven, you know, his point time and time and again. And you know, once again, it's funny, man. It seems like the Errol Spence fight was yesterday, but it's been a little while, right? So, it's one of those things where, once again, we're kind of in the same thing with like Andy Ruiz and Big Baby Miller, where, you know, we are we judge a fighter based on their last performance. And Crawford's last performance, man, performance against Errol Spence was, you know, pound for pound, one of the best boxing one-sided performances we've seen in a while. So it's hard to go against that. You know, it's really hard to go against that. I think, once again, I don't want to count Madrimov out, you know what I mean? Because it's boxing. You know, we've seen crazy things happen in boxing, but I really can't go against Terrence Crawford, especially after that last performance with Spence. I mean, he was the quintessential boxer puncher in that fight. I mean, it was like, holy cow. If you want to see the perfect, if somebody asks you to describe what a boxer puncher is, you don't even have to describe it. Just say, oh, just watch Crawford versus Spence. You see what I'm talking about, because he wasn't trying to just take his head off. He was using generalship. He was using feints. He was using jabs. But when he had Spence hurt, oh my God, it was like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if Madrimov has the experience yet to deal with that, because he's only what, 10-0, 11-0. I think I'm looking at it now. So he's 11-0,
10-0-1.
Okay, 10-0. That's right, 10-0-1, because he had that draw. So it's one of those things where I don't know if he's going to be able to rise to that occasion against someone like Crawford. I really don't.
You know what? With Crawford, I'm always kind of on the fence. Like, I think he's an amazing fighter. I think he is one of the best. He's on my top 5. Is he number 1? He's not my number 1. He is not my number 1. Lucas
wants Clarissa to fight guys now and now.
I don't want her to.
What am I doing on the show now?
Like, I don't want her to. I think she wants to. I'm just letting her do what she wants to do. But as far as Crawford goes, look, he's gotten hurt, right? He's gotten hurt. He's gotten hurt early in the fight against really low competition, or at least subpar competition. His last fight against Errol Spence, and I know you really liked it, Jules and Rob both, but for me, there's a big question mark there. I think Spence's eye was never good. I don't think he was in a peak performance for Errol Spence by any stretch of the means. You look at the Errol Spence fight, he won that easier than he won any of his other fights, which means to me that that's just not top Spence. He did not fight a 100% Spence. He just didn't. He fought with Sean Porter. So did Errol Spence, and those fights were very close on both pages. And that's Porter at the end of his career. All I'm saying is we don't really know a ton about Madrimov with 10 fights. Could he have the potential to stop a Crawford? Maybe. Also, he's going up in weight. We don't know if Crawford's punching power is going to transcend into this weight. I also have a feeling that Crawford may be overlooking all of this. He is chasing Canelo, guys. Let's not get it twisted. He
absolutely,
he's running from 147. He's running from Boots to try to get to that Canelo fight, that big money fight. And he may say it's for legacy, but I'm sorry. For me, that's just a money shot. Go ahead.
Lucas, I'm going to let you finish. I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of doing it again.
No, you're fine. I think that's what makes the show better is a little bit of interruption. But yeah, I don't see it that way. So go ahead and say what you're going to say.
What I was going to say, Lucas, I mean, let's be honest with you, though. Can you blame Crawford for winning the big money fight? I mean, he just came off, number one, the biggest fight of his career, right? Prior to what you were saying about him not fighting a top Spence, that was the fight of that year. That was the fight everyone wanted to see. And people were saying it was an even fight. Some people were saying Crawford was going to get crushed, right? And Rob, I'm sure you can agree. And number two, why would Crawford not want to chase Canelo now when Canelo has chosen to fight Berlanga? Like, if Berlanga can get the shot, Crawford, of course. You know what I mean? Why would he not?
Yeah. Let me tell you this, Lucas. I'm sorry. What?
Yes,
go
James.
ahead. Well,
yes, James, it is Jules. Jules is back for a little bit.
James.
Go ahead, Lucas. What were you gonna say? Because I'm gonna nip this in the bud with you right now. Okay.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
Have you ever heard of in sports? Have you ever heard of a 5-tool player? Right.
Oh,
Five tool player in baseball. It's equivalent of a guy who has 5 tools. Okay. In baseball, on average, you have 3 of those, maybe. Okay. On average, you could have 3. They have 5 tools. Football, same thing, man. You have guys who have maybe 2 to 3 tools at best. Okay. And then you have those stars that actually have 5 tools. Terrence Crawford is a 5-tool player. 5-tool. Okay. Like Jules said, go back to Errol Spence's fight because he used. You want to know why Errol it looks so bad? Not because of no damn eye injury. Okay, because he actually used all 5 of those tools. Boxer, check. Puncher, check. Ring generalship, check. Even throw in defense in that fight, check. And then the thing, most guys don't have the tenacity to finish fights.
Yeah, Rob, I'm with you. Yeah. Yup.
Okay.
He's a closer. He's a finisher. Yeah.
Right. So let me finish there, Lucas. Let me finish my point. Is the reason why guys like Terrence Crawford look shabby in certain fights to you is because they're not fully using all 5 of those tools. They don't have to. And guess what? In this fight, he don't really have to do it either. And that's where all of you guys get fooled into believing. Listen, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Terrence Crawford loses to nobody. Canelo included. Loses to nobody. Okay? And until you prove me wrong, I'm right. Okay? That's a Robism.
That's not a thing. Okay,
no, let me finish though. Is because when you see him, you say he's been hurt before. He likes that. He likes to get hurt. Why? Because it turns on another tool. It turns on another gear.
Look, nobody wants to get hurt, okay? And if you get hurt against one fighter, right? A Madrimov may be able to do a little bit more damage. Now that you're hurt, you might not be able to get unhurt. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, Crawford is great. I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to say is he has fights, right? He has 2 unanimous undisputed titles. That's amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment. The problem is he really didn't have to fight tough fights to get there. He did not have to do the same work that maybe Usyk would have had to do. He does not have that same experience. Who was his best win? Literally retired after that, Sean Porter? Was that his best win?
Tell them, Jules. I know you want.
I mean,
we're gonna talk Errol Spence, but I just can't use Spence because for me, I think Spence, that whole fight is just a big question mark. I can't use that one for really anything as far as going forward in Crawford's career.
Well, Lucas, number one, it was one of those things where, Crawford wasn't getting the big fights. That's the reality prior to Spence. I think that we are judging him based on us saying, oh, well, who's his competition? But the reality was Crawford was like, listen, I want the best fights. You know what I mean? But I'm not getting, the fights, prior to Spence to show, my greatness. And to a point, he's got a point about that. And number two, I always said that his performances against John Molina, Victor Postal, you know what I mean? Thomas Delorme. He's got people on his resume. Sure, they're not to the casual fans. You know what I mean? We don't think him as big wins. But those are the guys who he fought and had to work to the top, who were guys who, probably could have spoiled his undefeated record. Remember when Julius Ndongo was supposed to be a test for him?
I mean, exactly. Like, what are we talking about here? Ndongo? I like Ndongo. He's a good fighter, but we're not talking great. We're not talking. I don't think Ndongo's ever been on anybody's pound for pound list.
I've said it.
He's gone on, like, after losing to Crawford, lost to Prograis, lost. He is now 24-10.
I've said it earlier tonight, Lucas, and I'm going to say it again. And it's the end-all, be-all to your damn argument.
There is no end-all.
He loses to nobody. So when you say who is his best ain't no competition.
That's my point, though, is we don't have that marker. We don't have
there is no competition. You don't have to. Did you have a marker with Floyd? No. There is no competition. We did.
What do you mean? He had so much experience underneath him that Floyd fought a lot of fucking champions. Look, I know in my day, especially while he was fighting, I gave him a lot of shit. But there is no better in this era, in this generation, than Floyd Mayweather Jr. There's not Floyd. There's nobody.
Yeah,
Floyd
beating. Yeah, Floyd beating Gennaro Hernandez and Diego Corrales alone. Give him, you know what I mean, Hall of Fame status. And that's early in his career.
The only difference is, right? So, was Floyd ever undisputed? Was he ever undisputed? No. Do I doubt his ability to be undisputed? No. He could have beaten. And he would have beaten even better competition. That's my problem, is he didn't really want to test himself. But even in not testing himself, he has a better resume than Terrence Crawford. I would say Floyd Mayweather in his prime versus Terrence Crawford in his prime, there's not even, he's out of there in 6 rounds. That's how good Floyd was compared to Crawford.
God, Crawford, Lucas, I don't think he knocks out Crawford in 6. But he definitely gets, I give him the decision. I'll give him that. But knockout Crawford?
Depends what weight we're talking, but look, I got a lot of love for Bud, but I think he is held higher than what he should be currently. I'm always the last guy on the bandwagon. I'm always the last guy saying, what's really going on here? And with that Spence fight, like I said, I can't put anything on that. So you don't use that fight at all. And without that, like I said, you got that 140-pound division that he cleared out, but who did he beat to do it? There's not a name on there that's like, oh, well, good. That might have well have just been handed to him as far as the 140-pound division goes. 147, there are still fighters that he should have faced, the tougher competition, the Virgil Ortiz, right? The Bootsy Enos. These are guys that he had a chance to, even under Top Rank, guys. Now, this man says, yeah, he wanted the toughest competition, but then he also re-signed with Top Rank, who he was also saying is having problems getting that tougher competition because PBC didn't want to play ball. Now, he re-signed with them, and in no way am I saying he's dodging the fights. I don't really believe that. But what I'm saying is he also didn't put himself in the best situation to make those fights happen either.
We'll be talking to you till the cows come home because you just don't. Yeah, we'll be talking to you till the cows come home in this.
I mean, Listen, I feel like I'm arguing against you. What I'm saying is Madrimov doesn't have enough for me to judge. And lately with the Crawford fight, I gotta go back 2 years to see what Crawford did because I'm not using Spence. I refuse to use that fight. So then I got to go back 2 years to even see what he did. Because to be honest with you, Spence was not a fight. It was not a fight. That I think anybody could beat him.
But Lucas, you saying that is diminished. Is basically saying, Errol Spence. The fight with Spence was not a fight against Spence because Spence didn't show up. No, it wasn't a fight against Spence because Crawford was phenomenal that night. I mean, I understand you can say that maybe the accident and things of that nature. I'm not saying that, Spence is ever going to be the same again, especially with the eye. No, I'm not going to say that. But the reality is that
he dropped his next fight. So
right. But the reality is that it's not like Crawford was the fight as soon right after the accident. You know what I mean? He fought Danny Garcia and Ugas. You know what I mean? So it's like so it's not like, okay, you can say, oh, well, I don't count it because Spence fought Crawford immediately after the comeback. No, because Spence was on a winning streak prior to the Crawford fight, right, Rob?
Exactly.
Look, are we really talking Ugas and Danny Garcia are elites
Lucas, what
in
the
division?
Here? Are you picking Madrimov?
Really saying that?
Is that what you're saying?
Lucas is picking Shields. He got Shields versus Crawford for the win.
I don't know. Look,
what you mean you don't know? No, we all have to make our prediction. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it's Crawford stoppage by 7.
Listen, I'm simply saying that this one is harder for me simply because of the lack of experience on not only his side, but on the last 2 years on Crawford's side. I'm picking Crawford with a unanimous decision, only based on what I've seen so far, and it's not a lot for Madrimov. But I'm saying Crawford's. I don't know. Pound for pound wise, and what he's done lately, I'm not fully behind him yet. The move up in weight worries me too. Look, guys, these weight divisions aren't toys, and people keep playing with them. They keep thinking that they can just jump up whenever they want. And I don't think his eyes are set on Madrimov. I don't think he's worried about Madrimov. I think he's chasing Canelo. And here's the problem is he's got other people chasing him too. Enos is coming up to try to get that fight. Virgil Ortiz is coming up and trying to get that fight. Is he going to settle down? Is he going to fight those fights, or is he going to continue to book it up the weight divisions and try to get that Canelo fight? I'm still picking Crawford. All I'm saying is that what do we know? I'm asking you guys what his best win was besides Spence. And I don't really think I've heard a lot.
You're trying to minimize him.
I'm not trying to minimize him. I'm stating facts. Neither one of you argued when I said who did he really have to beat to be disputed at 140. There's not really a competition there. Anybody who was 140 who was somewhat decent would have been able to run over that other competition there. I don't think you guys are disagreeing with that. And at 147 also, he did get a couple of fights. He got the Porter fight.
I can't speak at 140 because it was so long ago. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't speak at 140 in the state of that division at that time. It was very long ago. There wasn't
Did he beat Gamboa? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're right. You're right, Jules. He did beat Gamboa. Unfortunately. Huh?
Who didn't?
Yeah, unfortunately, Gamboa's ran into issues, so that takes out that. But still, I can't speak on 140, but at 147, he was a beast. To me, at 147, he was an absolute beast. And Lucas is theory here about Spence is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is. And he beat the best guy at 147 that everybody thought was the best fighter in the world at 147. And that's all you had. That's all I needed to prove to me.
I mean, as long as you can prove it to yourself. All I'm trying to say is we've seen him struggle against much worse competition. I believe that Errol Spence was an injured Errol Spence.
Struggle. He knocked him out.
Who?
He knocked him out.
Who are you talking about? Spence?
Everybody is saying he struggled against. He knocked him out.
Eventually. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you can't get yourself eventually, right? You can get yourself into a trap. Like you said, he's been hurt before. He's been hurt several fights, right? Once you get hurt by a fighter that's able to put you out, though, it's going to be different.
He's been caught by a punch. He hasn't been hurt as in trouble hurt. He never was in trouble to lose those fights. He never was. He got caught.
I don't know about
everybody gets caught. Floyd Mayweather has gotten caught before and come back to dominate those fights. The difference.
Yeah, that's part of boxing. Yeah.
Not in the same way.
But keep minimizing Terrence Crawford, because I'm gonna come back on here next Tuesday and slam it in your face. Anyway.
Hey, Jay, you can't even slay Madrimov. That's the problem. He's 10-0-1. You really gonna come back here and be like, he beat Madrimov? We don't even know who the fuck Madrimov really is. He's 10-0-1, guys. Just like when he beat Ndongo that we were just talking about. He was undefeated, right? Ndongo was undefeated. Now what is he? 10 losses deep. Just because you have an O on the end of that doesn't mean that you're shit. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is you face weak competition. You were able to get a win. That's all the shit that matters. And that don't matter to me. James agrees that Bud's resume is a bit light. Go ahead.
Crawford crushed who was the guy who beat Pacquiao? Jeff Horn. And we still give Pacquiao the accolades of being one of the greatest fighters of all time, right? The hypocrisy is ridiculous.
He didn't beat Jeff Horn.
I know.
Jeff Horn did not beat him. Let's see. Gamboa is champion at featherweight, 10 pound when he moved up to 135 for a title shot against Bud. He was being avoided like the plague and undefeated, 29 years old. Gamboa, yeah, I mean, he had a long layoff, and then after that, unfortunately, he was just never the same fighter. But let's come here. That tells a story too, right? So, does beating Madrimov really matter when Vegas says, this ain't a fucking fight? This is not a fight. He's a 700 favorite going into this fight.
It does, because it's for
Why?
Why title.
Does it? This blatantly says it's not competition, Rob.
Yeah,
there's not competition.
I don't care what Vegas says about the odds. I don't give a damn about what you say about his opposition. What is going down in facts is that this is a title fight in a new division. Terrence Crawford is a undisputed champ in 2 weight classes. 2 already. So regardless of what y'all are trying to diminish about the opposition or not, again, I agree with y'all. You're right. Because there ain't no competition. Bud Crawford is the standard in boxing. There's nobody else. I don't give a damn what name you throw at him. Hell, put Mike Tyson in there, he'll whoop his ass.
Oh, man. Look, and again, I do want to come back and kind of touch on the Errol Spence thing, because Spence has dropped out of his fight against, what's his name, the Towering Inferno.
Fundora, yeah.
Look, I told everybody as soon as that fight was announced, Fundora is going to wipe the floor with it, right? And it's not happening because of competitive reasons. I think he's already been ruined. And I know you saying he beat Ugas, he beat a Danny Garcia. Those that's different, right? You can beat those kind of guys when you're injured, when you're not 100%. You cannot go in there against a Crawford. You just can't.
I don't like to talk about situations in terms of Errol Spence because I don't really like talking about it as far as because people want to diminish and this and that. And Errol Spence has personal demons. Period. That's
Everybody.
the problem. That's the no. He's not living a boxer's lifestyle. He hasn't for some time. He got himself in real bad trouble, damn near killed himself, and it's derailed his career. And to this point, there's more outstanding issues than just that accident. He's, in my opinion, he has a substance abuse problem with alcohol. I definitely 100% believe that. He doesn't take the sport serious. He doesn't. Period. And when you have throw the alcohol and substance abuse issues on top of you're spiraling out of control in your career and everything, like things like Ryan Garcia happened, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. So I don't like speaking about physicality issues or anything like that in terms of Errol Spence and what he's doing because he bowed out of a fight. Because to me, there's more underlying issues there. And it's more mental and substance abuse when you're dealing with stuff like that. I can't speak on that because that's a him problem, right? Let's face it, that's a him problem. What are you out here doing? You're wasting talent. Ain't nothing worse in the world than wasted talent.
I hear exactly what you're saying, Rob, 100%. But what you don't understand is I'm applying that, everything you said, all of those issues, I apply that to the Crawford fight.
But yeah, that's wrong because
no, you can't. You can't say that's wrong.
He took the fucking fight. Wrong. He took the fucking fight.
It's a lot of fucking money. You would take that fight. I would fight a bear for that kind of money. Look, guys, I'm not saying that. Now,
Jules, we say that stuff we say this stuff all the time, but would you really do it? Oh, if you gave me $1 million, I'll get in the ring with Mike Tyson. Would you really?
I would.
Would you really? 100%. And let him swing at you full force?
100%.
Because I don't know about you, Jules, but I'd have to think about that.
$1 million, I can retire. $1 million? I'm never working again. Fuck yeah, I'm fighting that fight. Look, I wanna deviate a little bit, right? Let's talk a little bit more about Madrimov. Does this fight, with it being this, does it matter, Jules? Is this really you're winning a belt, but does it really mean that you made a significant accomplishment when you're a 700 favorite going into that fight? That's already Vegas saying you're severely favored to win, and this competition is not even close.
You know what, Lucas? I'll be 100% honest with you, and I'm a Crawford fan. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. I will admit that. It means absolutely nothing. But I think the reality is that I don't even think Crawford feels like it means anything. To be quite fair, I think, as you said, it's a preview to his what's the word? His campaign for getting a fight with Canelo. That's just the reality. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's gonna get he's gonna move up in weight and get another belt at a weight, but it doesn't mean anything. Not at all.
Rob?
I already told you how I feel. I'm sick of this shit.
No, I mean, answer that honestly. Do you think that this fight even matters with it being
You're
that
asking
big?
Because of the damn Vegas odds? Ask Ryan Garcia if it matters, because the odds was fucking heavily in Devin Haney's favor again in that fight. So yes, it still means something. Ask Ryan Garcia if those fucking odds mattered before.
I love when you bring up that fight, man. Look, but you got that fight right, yes, but that man didn't make weight and he juiced, okay?
And also, to be honest with you, This is the thing with the whole thing. It wasn't like people didn't think Devin Haney wasn't a smart fighter, because Tank even said it. Like, all Ryan Garcia has is a left hook. The problem was that Devin Haney kept getting hit by it, and we didn't think that was going to be the case.
Nope. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see a replay on that fight when it's actually on the up and up. I would have loved to see, him make weight and all of the above, but I don't think that was ever a plan to begin with. I don't think that he was going to try to make weight. Rob, anything else?
Man, you made me exhausted tonight. Hell, I was already tired coming up on him, but then you had to come up with your antics tonight. Listen, everybody out there,
read that one first, and then you can say it.
Yeah, because William is right. And I thought you was going to leave that up there, and I saw that, but William is exactly right. Yes, it matters. It matters because it's his first fight moving up, and he's coming up for a belt. No tune-up. So, yeah. I think Williams' comment was absolutely right. Absolutely right. Dead on. But, yeah, what I wanted to know, kind of, though, and I was going to go here for rapid fire or whatnot, so I guess I'll just ask.
Okay.
But what I kind of wanted to know is we're getting this fight, and yes, it is a big card. But as Lucas alluded to, though, some of these matchups, little one-sided, right? Little favoritism, as we seen the odds flowing tonight. The odds have a few close fights in there, but a lot of them are heavy favorite. But let's take those favorites, right? And tell me, if you were to build their next fight, like their very next fight, who would you want to see them fight? And I'm talking Terrence Crawford. I'm talking Pitbull Cruz. I'm talking David Morrell. And we all picked them, so let's go with Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz is probably the closest odds-wise. So, I mean, as far as A side and the B side, that one was the closest one. I would love to see Andy Ruiz get back into it and have his rubber match against Anthony Joshua. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. But I don't like unfinished business. We got one win here, one win here. Let's finish it out. I want to see who's the better fighter. That's one for me. Crawford, I've been wanting to see Virgil Ortiz for a long time. I've been wanting to see Boots Enos for a long time. Those are two fights I think that would, for you guys, for Jules and Rob, right? That would shut my fucking mouth. You beat those guys, you shut my fucking mouth, right? Like, that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I am not the guy who just sees, Gennady Golovkin when he was out there destroying everybody. But it was kind of low names, B names. I'm not the guy that's like, oh, I'm on the Golovkin train. No, you got to beat somebody with a name. You have to impress me before I just say, oh, okay, yeah, you're pound for pound. Crawford's there. There's no doubt just watching him fight that he has the skills. It's can he step up to the competition? Can he, when he's pressured fully like this, is he able to push through? Or is he going to fall to that kind of pressure? We haven't seen him in all kinds of different fights. We have not seen Crawford really pressured. When we did, it was the Porter fight, and that was a much less Porter than what Porter really is, right? Like, that was his going away party. Imagine a healthy, younger Porter. That fight may go very differently. And also, Porter's not the strongest when it comes to pressure. Yes, he does apply it, but he's not a one-punch type of guy.
Lucas, when I asked this, I'm at rapid fire session. I didn't mean for you to go on no damn rant again.
My bad. But that's the one. That's the two I want to see.
So, Pitbull.
Pitbull's he's got a lot in there, but me, I gotta see the Tank rematch. I have to see it. I've been calling for that shit since it happened. I think it deserves a rematch. I think the fact that Gervonta said I don't want it means I want it that much more. I've got to see that fight.
And then Morrell.
Morrell, I just want to see tested. I'm good with any name. Give him a name. I know he's a little bit slow coming in. He's still we talked earlier. I can't remember. I think he's only 10 fights into. So he's not a lot different than Madrimov. I would love to see just a good name. I don't care. And he's apparently going to become. No, that was Benavidez who's going to be the mandatory for the winner of the Vol Beterbiev. So I just want a name, but he's in light heavy now, so get a name.
Jules, what you want to see next?
You want to do it by? I can just go by any of the guys. So all right, I'll go with Ruiz. I know this is controversial. I would like to finally see him fight Wilder. I was actually looking forward to seeing him fight Wilder, or oh god, the guy who beat Wilder. I would like to what's the guy who the Chinese heavyweight? No, Chinese heavyweight who just beat
Zhang.
Yeah, Zhang. I would like to see if Ruiz pulls it out. Him fight Zhang. We can save that for another time, but I'm heavy on Zhang. I like him a lot.
That's a rough fight for Andy. If he gets through that one, he's the man. That's a rough fight.
It is. But he's honestly, Zhang is a rough fight. I feel like for anybody. But so yeah, those two. For Crawford, I really want to see him fight Boots. I'm gonna be honest with you. When they mentioned that fight, I would love to see him fight Boots. I feel he does? Lucas, you may not agree with me. I do feel he deserves a Canelo fight. I would love to see him fight Canelo, but as a fan of the sport, as someone who watches it, I would love to see him fight Boots. I'll wrap it up quickly. Cruz, I'm with Lucas. I would definitely love to see the rematch with Tank, but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be mad if they made Isaac Cruz versus Frank Martin. I wouldn't be mad at that either. You know what I mean?
I like it.
So yeah, I would pick that. David Morrell, I'm with Lucas as well, as long as he fight a name. But I wouldn't be mad if he said, I'm just gonna go back down and fight Caleb Plant. I would like to see him fight Caleb Plant.
I'm doing that.
Yeah. And that was it, right? Anybody else? Rob, I think I'm pretty finished.
That was it. That's perfect. I love that. I love those matchups too. For me, I am taking the Ruiz versus Parker train. I want to see that fight.
I'm good with that.
If he wins, because I think Parker's
that's actually a good fight.
I think Parker's on a hell of a ride right now. But that bubble could be bursted.
Well, Jared just did. I love Andy Lee training him. I think that's amazing. I'm a big fan of Andy Lee. I think he's really turned Parker's career around too.
True. As far as Pitbull goes, y'all, I just want to see him fight any champ at that division. I think it's time for a title shot. Stop putting him against Tank's foes. Stop putting him against up-and-coming fighters. Give the man a damn title shot. Let him get a title under his belt, Lucas, and then the Tank fight we can talk about. As far as Morrell goes, Morrell is a beast. Fuck it. I just want to see him go to the beast and take on David Benavidez. If you're that's Godzilla versus King Kong to me.
Hold on, but Vol Beterbiev is King Kong versus Godzilla. That's what that is.
And then I'll say this. For my man Crawford, I'll give you one out. I only see Crawford Canelo. That's the biggest fight I think that he can make. I'll give you one out though, just to at least shut Lucas up and maybe take out a Charlo.
Okay.
I would love to see him take out Charlo. if he can't get that Canelo fight at this weight.
I think the Charlo. I like it, but I think the Charlo name has been diminished as of late. Guys, we've all we're about to end the show, but I want to say something. We're all just assuming that Crawford wins this. Is if Madrimov wins, what do we think happens? Is he going to go back down and wait? Just say he dared to be great and go up and wait and chase those bigger fights? Or even if he wins, are we just going to see him next at 160? Is he trying to gradually go up?
Well, first of all, to answer your question, if Madrimov wins, pigs can fly. Okay.
So you have no faith that Madrimov can win this,
I'll come on the show shirtless again. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't be a first time, would it?
Rob planned on doing that anyway, right? It's just an excuse.
All right. Anything else, guys?
But no, I think Crawford's plan is to take on Canelo, is to look at the 154-pound division. And like I said, if there's a Charlo that's relevant and willing and able and ready to fight, I think he'll entertain that type of fight. And if not, then he has to move on to Canelo.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of people that watch this show or that just know me as a writer or a analyst, anything like that, thinks two things. I don't like Canelo and I don't like Crawford. Neither one of those are the case. I just like them to see in the fights that they need to be in. For me, I think the jury's still out on Crawford. If he had already had the wins against Ortiz, against the Boots, I would be more behind him in trying to go up and wait to try to accomplish something. But at this point, we've seen guys. How many other fights have we seen where they jump 2 weight divisions and actually win? If anybody can name one, please speak it, because they don't. They go up 2 weight classes and they lose. I don't care if it's Adrian Bronner or Mikey Garcia when he went up to fight Spence. It happens, right? You usually don't go up in weight class and win, let alone from 147 to 168. That's a big jump. Canelo ain't coming down, so it's all on Crawford to go up to that. They could end up on a catch weight, but I doubt it. I think it's going to go that full weight. And even when he loses, then it's still that he just dared to be great. Let's go do something else now. And for me, I don't want the Canelo fight simply for that reason. I don't want an easy out to say, oh, well, he was just too big. We knew he was too big. I know he's too big now. I don't want that fight. I have no desire for that fight currently. There is so much left for Crawford to chew on, for him to beat up in these other divisions below Canelo. There's a plethora of people for him to beat up on. Let's at least get there that way. Let's look dominant that way, then we can move on. The resume is a bit light for me to be calling for Canelo just yet. You got to have him on your top 5 pound for pound, though. I got to thank everybody for tuning in. Rob and Jules, thank you both for coming on. And as always, we will check us out again on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We don't pull any punches.